Ravens' Rashard Bateman is going to be out for weeks, for a number of weeks. Actually, there was no given timetable, but a number of weeks with his injury that was supposedly not major became major when he was limping. Michael Kendricks, who a few weeks ago was caught on insider trading charges, has signed with the San Francisco 49ers. This is because they are weak at their linebacker position because their linebackers keep getting hurt. So they need someone to take over. Here's an interesting fact that I want us to think about. And this is what Ian Rappaport said. Interesting. Rookie quarterback Sam Ehlinger from Texas is getting the first team reps with the starters, not Jacob Eason, who was a rookie last year. This is probably because they saw that Jacob Eason is not as good as Sam Ehlinger, or is not as far along, and they have more confidence in Ehlinger. And as we saw last night, where he played, and they ended up going on a game-winning drive with Ehlinger, it showcased they have a lot of confidence in him. And who knows when Wentz comes back, as well as Quentin Nelson. Who knows when they come back? You need someone that they trust enough to say, okay, go. Let's go for it. Because we don't want to trade for Nick Foles. As we were just talking about, Wentz and Nelson on track to play week 1. We don't know how that happened exactly. We don't even know what kind of injury it is. Like, we know where it's based, but we have no idea what the timetable would be in terms of, we know it's 5 to 12 weeks, but that's so wide in terms of timetable. The question is, does he play? And the thing was, when they made the timetable, normally when they make a timetable, they say, well, it's 4 to 8 weeks, or 4 to 3, or 4 to 6 weeks, because we want, there might be a little bit where we have to give, but mostly it'll be that point. Well, 5 to 12 weeks is such a wide span. It questions on, is there more things wrong with that situation than they're letting on? Aldon Smith was released by the Seattle Seahawks after allegations of second-degree battery. This has been the problem with Aldon Smith, is that he's been in trouble with the law, and he's had a hard time in his life. And when the Cowboys brought him in last year, the questions were, was he going to be good? And yeah, he looked good, but he didn't want to be in Dallas. And when he got to Seattle, finally he has one shot to make this work. He got a big contract. He got a 2-year contract, some money, moving them to Seattle. Doesn't work, he gets released. Now, you're back in the same spot, you gotta figure out where you're going again. Aaron Rodgers is expected to set up the whole preseason, as we know. But the situation that comes out that when you have your backup quarterback, Jordan Love, who's supposed to take over, and ends up injuring his shoulder, getting an MRI, and it was clean, but he's going to be out for a few days. That's huge if you're a Packers fan, because it questions his durability behind Rodgers if Rodgers goes down or leaves or whatever. According to the NFL, unlimited players can come off the IR, the injured reserve list, after 3 games. They made this idea last year where only a few players could. But once you did it once, you couldn't do it again. Now, they're embracing this and saying now unlimited people can come back. It's a good move on their part, actually. Because how many players have been injured for 3 weeks, they finally get to come off because now they're off and they have 3 weeks to say, yes, you're off, no, you're staying on. If you guys watched the Broncos versus the Vikings, Drew Lock played, Teddy Bridgewater played. Both played very well. Drew Lock started that game. He's expected to start all preseason games unless we get near the last one where we'll start Teddy Bridgewater. But they all played well. The defense played very well. And I was pleased if I was a Broncos fan. Because it looked almost easy for them to do this. So I think if you have the right team around them, again, it's only preseason, but it's still a good sight to see if you're a Broncos fan. The Bengals and the safety Bates are not expected to reach a deal in any time. So and Bates is a great player, but the problem is the Bengals are the way they run this team and the way the owner runs this team is he's very strapped for cash. He doesn't like spending. He never does. And so a lot of good players walk. And that's just what happens. He doesn't like spending money, and that's a position that he puts everyone in, and it makes it very hard for your team to get good. You have to be willing to spend a little money to make this work. Cowboys, Zerline will be on all cylinders no later than opener, which is a good sign. It means he's getting close to getting back there. The question is, can he get back there as quickly as possible? Again, the opener's against the Bucks, so you hope he'll be ready 1 to 2 weeks before the season starts.